These are the stretcher shrinkers from Harbor Freight. I didn't go with their stand. Number one, it was too expensive, and number two, I wanted it to be portable, so I welded a pipe and a wheel together with a plate, and I still got some modifications to do to it. And this is kind of a review on it. What did I do with that piece? I took and bent this after I put it on the brake, and it matches the contour on the rear body panel on my F-150, which I just did this for just to test it because the F-150 is going to the scrapyard. But it matches pretty well. There's a little bit of work that I would have had needed to do on it, but I think I need to clean the dies because this bent it pretty well, right to the shape that I needed. But I wanted this and the bead roller to be completely portable, where I could haul it anywhere I needed. One other thing with these shrinker stretchers, at least wise from Harbor Freight, you cannot have any paint on the material because it clogs the serrated jaws on it, and it will not do anything. So it has to be just the raw sheet metal. And you need to keep the serrated jaws clean. Here we have more rot on the Jeep. It goes all along that edge. This is rotted here, so I'm going to have to put a patch on there. And somebody, I don't know who it was, they put a piece of license plate over here. So there must have been a hole here too. And there's a little hole right there in the middle of the screen. Part of that section needs to be repaired too. So it looks like I'm putting my sheet metal tools that I got to use. Alright, somebody has spread tar over here, the previous owner, and I'm in the process of removing it. And how I do that is you could take a scraper and try to scrape your ass off, but that don't work. I have one of these multi-tools from Harbor Freight with the steel blade on it, and it works pretty good. That works really well on your seam sealer too. It removes all that crap. But you can see that is short order. That was all tar all over that. It looks like somebody hit something here because this is all dented in. But I got some other areas I got to do here and clean this up before I start removing any sheet metal. And I got to take some measurements. Alright, this is the demonstration on how well this thing works on the seam sealer. It's kind of a poor demonstration because this is all rotted steel here. But you can see it comes out of there fairly easy with it. Here is where this is rotted out, and this is the beginnings of my patch. I've been using the shrinker stretcher, and I found one thing. If you want more of a radius, this flange has to be narrow. It cannot be wide unless you got the deep shrinker stretchers to stretch the rest of it. I learned this through experimentation because I made one for the other side with a deeper flange, and I got a very small radius on this, where this that fits on the bottom right up close. And once I get my body hammer in there, and I don't know whether you can see down in there, there's very, very little gap. But that'll be the beginnings of the patch for this, and I'll continue it on. And I'll have to make a flange for in there. Alright, I made this flange narrower, and then I tried shrinking and stretching, and that worked. You got to have that with the shrinker and stretcher. You got to have it pretty narrow to get that kind of curve. And it needs just a little bit of pushed in there, but that I can do that. That's not a big issue. But I got to go all the way around here with that. Okay, I got the bead roller set up with the flanging dies for the 1/4 inch flanges. This is just a test pattern to make sure that I had the right sizes. And when I make my piece of sheet metal, I'm going to put that flange in there, or that bead, and it's going to run the whole length. So that's what it's going to look like. except it's going to be a whole piece of sheet metal. Alright, here's the flange I put in it. It isn't 100%, but then the bead roller isn't a powered bead roller, and I had to do it all by myself. So overall, it didn't turn out too bad. And I got some other beads I think I got to put in it. I got to look behind that panel and take my measurements. And then I'll have my flange underneath this. My flange will go underneath that. And then this piece will sit on top of the flange. And the flanges are going to go all the way around. Well, I've been doing some more digging into the rust. This is on the passenger side. We'll get it all patched up. I don't want to dig too far into here because the gas tank's under there. As you can see, the corner of it. Because I don't want to create too much heat with the welder. So I'll probably put my patch all the way down and then plug weld to this. And I'll put a flange going from here and overlap my piece, my other patch that I'm going to put over there. Because I have to put it in two pieces. Yeah, she's pretty crunchy. I'll get it patched.